Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Over the past couple of years, GTPs have established themselves as one of the most popular classes in all of motorsports, in real life and in sim. However, these 1,000 horsepower beasts are usually limited to just 20 or 30 cars on track and needing to slalom through slower categories. Not tonight, and not for any of the 9 rounds of the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. We have 50 GTP cars ready to launch today as Season 7 of this historic championship visits a very historic circuit as we kick things off at the legendary Le Mans track. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Avery McDonald, Lee Thompson, bringing you this broadcast on Apex Racing TV. Avery, wonderful to be back with this championship, and I am excited to see what we're going to see. I've never seen this many GTP cars on a track. I'm not sure what to expect, and well, we're going to have this for the entire championship.
Yeah, absolutely. This the GTP cars are so much fun. You know, when they brought in, all 4 of them now, it's been a lot of fun to drive. Personally, for me, I've been racing the car last couple of weeks just to kind of get an idea on how these cars handle. But like you said, I don't think anybody's ever ran a GTP only class race. So you come to a very historic track in Le Mans, and I'm just excited to be here for another great season for the Apex Racing League.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty great, and I mean, what a track as well to launch this all at, and one that the drivers will know so familiarly as well. Visited very often in the officials, and so the drivers should be ready to go. We are currently in a half-an-hour qualifying session, and anyone who's followed other Apex Racing League series, you sort of know that this is the standard format we have really now, where the first 10 minutes are for the AM drivers, the next 10 minutes are for the Pro-Am drivers, and the final 10 minutes are for the Pro drivers. The Pros are currently out on circuit. However, the Pro-Ams are finishing up their laps. It's such a long lap that there are still a few drivers to complete, and well, we get our first idea of who's the ones to beat.
Yeah, that's what's really cool. Like we said before, with the Super Formula Series, how you're able to race against other people of your skill level, and with the AM drivers, the Pro and the Pro-Am, they're also running for a championship. So you always want to get off to a good start, especially here at Le Mans. And it's a really good schedule. If you take a look at the calendar on their website, Apex Racing League website, it is an amazing schedule, Sam. Lots of historic tracks. And like you were saying earlier, I don't think there's a better track to start the season with.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. There are still sign-ups open, by the way. We've got 8 places remaining. So if you are watching this and thinking that you want to race on a Thursday evening in these cars, do go to apexracingleague.com and you can register for this or the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Series as well. And of course, we always recommend joining the Discord as well. There is a link to that in the description below, and you can see updates to all of our series. Here is Pablo Espes just rounding out the final couple of corners, and he is launching a lap in the Pro category. However, currently at the top of the standings, it is Joshua Wilson, and I think Wilson and Mock, two of the favourites going into this championship when it comes to the Pro-Am and the AMs respectively. You can see the green by Wilson's name, that indicates he is a Pro-Am. The white next to Mork's name indicates he's an AM. So a pretty terrific lap there from Mork, who is some 3k below some of the drivers that he's beaten.
Yeah, he's showed a lot of pace. Like you said, could be a favorite for the amateur overall, but needs to get a good start here. But the pro drivers, they're on track, and they need to get a good time in because it's a huge field, Sam, and you always want to have a good starting position, especially when you know a lot of the drivers you're going to be competing against will be in the top 15. So if they can get a good qualifying effort, should be a good start for them. But like you said, Joshua Wilson's quickest of the day so far. Only driver to get the 220.7 because he's about 10th faster than Mork. So we'll see if it holds on. I mean, as fast as the lap as it is, expect some quick ones to come up soon.
And you'll see on the timing tower, there's a lot of Acuras. This is very much, I mean, who would have thought that last season the Acura was barely touched? That and the Porsche were just absolutely no-goes. It was all BMW, and really the Caddy genuinely seemed to be the most popular car. But we have seen a stream of drivers, especially the pro guys, gravitating towards the Acura in recent days. Some drivers switching cars just a couple of hours ago. It's a big commitment because you do have to stick to the same car throughout the season, otherwise you get a 50-point penalty if you do change. And the drivers realising that it is these Acuras which are the way to go. And so far the Acuras mainly at the top, but a few Porsches, and you can see a few Caddies, very few BMWs unfortunately, but hopefully that changes maybe as the season progresses. As we ride on board with George Karakoulis, one of the two Greek drivers taking part this season. And yeah, he's coming round the latter part of the circuit, just set the fastest fourth sector of anyone.
Yeah, put on a really good time here. We did see it on the broadcast, a couple drivers going off the track. If you're new to iRacing, you must stay on the track. If you go into the grass, that's going to give you a 1x, and that's going to eliminate your time. So you have to be very cautious at this beautiful track to get a good time in. So we'll see as the drivers are just starting to get towards the end of this racetrack here. We'll see what they're able to run down. But Joshua Wilson's time is going to be tough to beat, but we'll just have to see what happens here, Sam. Just a really tight field so far. I mean, 1 second all the way to 10th place, and that's for, you know, the amateur division, so it's pretty close. But here is Pablo. So Pablo's an 8,600 high rating driver, so we'll see what he gets.
It looks good. He set 3 purple sectors. I'm seeing other purple sectors by Huber, Marshall Huber, who is the highest I-rated driver in this series. But I think Espes will go on to provisional pole. It's whether or not he'll be able to stay there. There he goes, half a second faster than Huber. And we hope at least that they'll have enough fuel to continue pushing for a second lap and look for more improvements. Caisson moving up to 3rd position. Nice lap as well from Karakoulas, who were riding on board with partway through. Andre Delachas, who I believe, apologies, Alexander Delachas, who I believe won at this circuit in the Apex Racing League Endurance Championship last year. So he could be very dangerous on this layout. More as well, across the line, he goes to 4th position, but they are allowed to complete this second lap. The timer will run out, but they have as much time as they need to complete the lap, and so that board could still change.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on that 7th and 8th place. You have the Pro-Am and the amateur drivers that beat a couple of the pros, so I'm really going to see if these pro drivers are going to be able to get another lap and improve their time, because if they don't, Wilson and Mark are starting in a good spot, regardless how the qualifying effort goes for the pro drivers. But they're in a really good spot. But that's what I'm really keeping an eye on, Sam, is to see if somebody can knock up into the top 5 or even take off Pablo's time.
Yeah, it'll be tricky. It's a long lap this, but half a second against this field is a really good effort. So that is a good effort there from SBS. Of course, the format for tonight, 60 minutes across the 9 rounds. We have 7-hour-long races, and then we have a couple of extended 75-minute races as well. But 60 minutes for SBS to potentially have to hold on to that lead. Welcome, by the way, everyone on the YouTube chat to this race. We've got Paul Busby around. We've got Lennart Schnabel. Shame that you guys aren't around. They were very desperate to race, but unfortunately they had to pull out just a few days ago. But thanks, guys, for tuning in. Tim Cox obviously needs no introduction, Apex Racing TV veteran, Performance Link, and many others. Do let us know who you are supporting, guys, and any thoughts you have during the race.
I'll tell you what, Sam, I'm supporting all the drivers. I'm a equal opportunity fan, so I'm just here hoping these drivers are going to have a good time. The one thing we really want to look forward to, not just from round 1, but how these drivers progress throughout the season to get better. I mean, get more comfortable with the car and comfortable around the people that you're racing with. So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to. That's the great thing about covering a season-long series, that you can see guys just get better. But everybody's trying to get a little bit better against Pablo there. So he's got that really quick time, but in about 20 or 30 seconds, you'll see the rest of the drivers finish their lap time. So we'll just have to wait and see, Sam. This is the hardest part about qualifying. It's such a long track. It's a lot of waiting and seeing until the time comes in.
Well, Espes has gone back to the pit, so Espes isn't going to improve. Huber, I'm not sure if there's going to be enough for Huber. He's just coming up to the line now. Does he able to move ahead? Here he is. Oh, he improves, but it's not enough for pole position. 0.3 of a second back still. A few personal bests and a few non-personal bests. It wasn't quite enough to beat Espes. Delatraz moves up to 7th position, gets ahead of Wilson and Mork. Jesper Sandström in Wave Italy Racing Team colours for the first time on Apex Racing TV. Former F3 champion for Sim Race Sweden. He's ran in the final couple of corners. I think he's going to be very dangerous this season. A few personal bests on this lap, and it does get him up into 5th place. I think he'll be happy with that 3rd row of the grid for the Swedish driver. And the only other guy to complete his lap is George Karakaulis, who's got the circuit entirely to himself. And unfortunately, this lap has been very slow, so he's going to need to break the land speed record in order to break it from there. And we've got Balázs Turoski only down in 41st place. Balázs, winner of the Amateur Championship last season in the GTP category, and finished 2nd place overall as well. It was an insane performance. He's in the pros this season, but yeah, not setting an eligible lap time there. I'm not sure if he even got out on circuit, honestly, so very disappointing for him, Avery.
Yeah, it just looks like he might have had a little off tracks or maybe junked the cars. So unfortunately for him, he's got a long way to go. We'll see what he'll be able to do, because we know he's got some pace. So, but it's very important, especially at this race, to have a good starting spot. You know, Le Mans is just such a beautiful track, Sam. I remember doing some 6-hour endurance races here last season, and it was so much fun. That it's always a great track to drive around. Everybody knows it. It's such a popular track throughout the world, so it's such a cool opportunity to start the season off here. But you know, George's out here just putting some laps in, trying to find where he can get a little bit better, because he's, you know, sitting in 7th place, and just really just needs to find a little bit more speed to get up to the top of the pack. But like you said, it's an hour-long race. Anything can happen.
Yeah, he'll have plenty of time to get up there. This lap that he's just started, it's not an eligible lap because the timer ran out 2.5 minutes ago. So I think maybe now that he toes, he might. We are watching B-roll anyway. But yeah, we might transition hopefully over soon to the race, and of course the gridding up process as well, with it being Le Mans and the very narrow final couple of chicanes around this circuit. The drivers are going to be starting in single file, which means, Avery, if you're first, you're going to be like 20 seconds ahead of someone like Turoshki down in 50th. Because, like before the race even starts, because there's going to be gaps between each of the cars. So, you know, whilst you can gain places in the top 10, those drivers who messed up their qualifying, they're at a big disadvantage for tonight.
Yeah, you really, especially with if you were doing a 2-wide start, you want to start front. But with the single file start, which is a really good move here at Le Mans, because I don't know how many times I've come to the green flag and we're 2 wide and carnage and 90% of the field is finished. So, yeah, Sam, it's just going to be super important you got to get a good start if you're starting towards the back of the field, but you can't afford just to chunk the car right away. So we'll see what these drivers are going to do and how they're going to attack this race, especially some of the pro drivers that either didn't get a qualifying lap in or starting below 29th and below.
And of course, when it comes to the pit stops later on, we could see some fuel saving. I recall when commentating with David Sampson, or Sampsoid as he's more often called, very much emphasizing the fuel saving in this car. And even if you're not saving a lap of fuel, just saving a couple of seconds in the pits could be important. And this circuit, more than any other, Avery, is about fuel saving. The long straights, the big braking zones. And so I wonder if we're going to see quite a patient first 30 minutes of this race. And then it might kick off once the pit stops are done and once everyone has enough fuel to get to the finish.
Right, you just have to be, you got to be patient at a track like this. You know, there's not a lot of really good passing opportunities. I mean, there's some good passing opportunities, but there's times where you can try to make a pass, and it's just you either push the car off track or you get into the other car. So the drivers are going to have a lot of patience to get through this 60-minute race. And like I said, you know, watching that fuel, because you know, the less time you're on pit road, the better. I've always said on any time we do a race, it's all about getting in and out of pit road the fastest possible.
So here is the grid then for the first time this season. Is Pablo Espes, who has beaten Martial Hubert. Hubert is 8.9k. Espes a little bit below that, 8.6. They are the two highest I-rated drivers on the field, and we are expecting it to be a tight battle throughout the season between the two of them. Then it's Andrea Cason, Nathan Moore, Jesper Sandström, Tanguy Bion, George Caracaulas, and Alexander Delachaz in 8th. Then it's top of the Pro-Ams, Joshua Wilson. I think Wilson might be the highest I-rated Pro-Am as well, so really delivering on that promise for effect simulations. Thomas Mork with an amazing performance for a guy who is 3.3k to be up in 10th place overall. Then it's Augustin Bernier, James Ibram, Thomas Sorensen, Austin William Campbell, Julian Retty, Lars Devan, David van der Waals, Renu Herbion, Anthony Maguire, Oscar Lafayce, then it's Alessandro Berti in 3rd place in the AMS, Matthew Trivet, Soren Kroll, Marco Pavona, Tobias Kruken, Francois Lerosse, Jean-Thierry Arigi, then it's Morton Capote, Chris Byram, Stathis Kokagiannis, Loy Giude, then it is Lewis Archer, Elliot Hankin, Luis Araya, Dominic Huber, Samuli Kumo, Jorge Hernandez Villegas, then it's Jose Morbrun, Janosch Gebart, Aaron Feidelak, Balash Taruski well out of position, Luke Mitchell, John Hudelodis also out of position, Aaron Smith out of position, and even these Pro-Am drivers of Axel Guzmel and Henry Joslin in 45th and 46th, they'll be gaining places. And the 3 Italians to round out the order, Lubino, Bolazzo and Sereno in 48th place.
That's a big field, Sam. 48 cars on the track right now, only one not making the start. So, you know, this is a time where it's your emotions, you need to get them in check. You're getting ready to go green flag here at Le Mans for 60 minutes. So the hardest part for me is just that slow pace lap till we get to the start zone. You know, you're just thinking, you're going through different scenarios in your head. What am I going to do if this driver behind me tries to make a move, or if I'm going to try to make some moves to get around? So this is the time where all the drivers are just kind of thinking about what they're going to do, when they're going to try to maybe make their pit stop, or just try to come up with a strategy, because once it goes green, it can get very hectic in any race, but let alone 48 prototypes, Sam. So the drivers are starting to sort out the field. Remember, single file for here at Le Mans. So we'll see what happens for these drivers. But man, I tell you what, Sam, this is going to be a start to what should be a fantastic season. I'm just honored to be here with you.
It's going to be mighty, seeing 48 drivers go through the 4 chicanes. Some of them may not make it any further than that, but we should hopefully at least get everyone to the start-finish line. The jets fly overhead, can be a bit off-putting when you're driving along, but these guys have done dozens, maybe even hundreds of races around this track, and many of them in these GTP cars as well. And they've got another 60 minutes of driving to come up to start this Season 7 of the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. And out in the lead and controlling the field is Pablo Hesbez. He can go any time between the final chicane and the start-finish line. Wave Italy Joe just controlling the field. He has now got full control. He'll put his foot down, and the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship is back, and we are racing at Le Mans. Hesbez with a bit of wheel spin coming out of the final chicane. It's left him a bit vulnerable to Hubert, but he's not going to put too much pressure on him as we go into the chicanes for the first time.
Yeah, a little wheel spin for Hesbez, but like Hubert just gives him some time. But look at this, nice and flowing through the beautiful racetrack, and Oscar there just being careful. And then we're back into the amateur division. This is about 6 or so of the amateur drivers, and they're just getting those tires warmed up. That's the one thing with these cars we're going to see here in Apex Racing League. The cold tires, you got to be very careful. And Pablo is leading the field down the long straightaway. This is where you're going to be using up all the fuel.
Absolutely. And a nice hole being punched in the air for Hubert and Caisson and Moore, who are all still in the tracks of our race leader. There was a change for Tanguy Beyond. He managed to get past Jesper Sandström, and Sandström actually now under pressure from Karakolis. So not a strong start for the Swedish driver so far. Still leader of the amateur division is Thomas Morgan. He's actually gained a place overall as well. This is a battle between Kruken and Bertie. However, Kroll has got a lovely slipstream on the pair of them and might well make it 3 wide.
Yeah, Kruken kind of got into him a little bit there, but we're still moving on. We'll see if they make a move here, but it's still real early, but you got to make some spots as quick as possible, or as safe as possible.
Slow down for Hubert, it looks like, at least. And that is painful on any lap at Le Mans. But it's especially painful on lap 1, and that has lost him 3 seconds to the race lead. It's lost him a bit of track position as well. That's not what was needed for our highest I-rated driver. Sandström, meanwhile, loses out to Delachez. He's lost 3 places now in this start as Sandström. Seemingly is struggling on those cold tyres that you mentioned, Avery. And Karakolis, Delachez, and Beyond have all got past.
You know what's really impressive though, Sam? Joshua Wilson and Thomas Mork still in the spot they started in, so still are sitting in a good spot in 9th and 10th there. They're leading their division right now. They just got to keep their head down and try to make some good moves. And we take a look for the battle for around the 10th position here. And this is a pro driver right on Mork's rear end, so we'll see how much patience he's going to have to get around him. But a big move there to get around the leader of the amateur division.
And of course, the drivers score points for their overall position in this series. And so a pro beats, or an AM beating a pro, that is significant. That will take 1 point from the pro, and it'll take 1 extra point for the amateur driver. So this does matter. Well, in the end, Bernier able to get it done. He's up to 10th place and can now chase after Wilson up ahead. And of course, he wants to keep up with that top 8 pro drivers. There aren't many pro drivers in this series. Only about 14 of the 54 drivers are pro. A decent amount of AMs, I think 24 AMs and 20 pro AMs. Yeah, they are all, well, the majority at least, near the front in the pro division at the moment. Here's Balázs Tarowski. He's one of the pros who isn't at the front, messed up his qualifying, and you can see he's already 30 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, 30 seconds up off the lead. But he's up one spot, so they're trying to catch up. Everyone's trying to catch up to Pablo, and he's just doing a good job staying on the track and trying not to get a slowdown because the gap was tight. When Huber was not there and gets a slowdown and it starts to pull him away. It's a 1.7 second gap from Pablo to second place. So if he just keeps a good rhythm and try to run as fast as he can and just as safe as possible, he should try to pull away a little bit. He's about a second quicker a lap than second, but we're only on lap 3 here, or lap 2 here. So I mean, we'll see what happens as we get more laps in the books. So good start for him.
And we might be able to find what happened to Huber on lap 1. And yeah, he has just, I think, gone over the white line there, and you can see he immediately pulls over to the left and has to serve that slowdown. So disappointing for the ARA driver.
Yeah, you have to, when you get that slowdown, Sam, you just got to take care of it right away because you don't want to let it linger and then have the time run up and you have to go do a pass-through penalty. So good job by him to get that penalty cleared. But I'll say this, Sam, 5 minutes in this race, relatively pretty clean start.
It's been good. Sometimes I do put forward the idea of, should we just do single file starts all the time? Because it really does sort out a lot of the lap 1 issues, but the drivers are adamantly against it. They dislike the fact that you have huge field spread immediately with the single file starts. But yeah, when we've done it at Nords before and when we've done it at Le Mans, it does usually work very well. Samuli Kumo, and we're not biased, but we are absolutely rooting Samuli on. It's not going very well for him, it seems like, through that chicane. He has lost a couple of places. There's also been a change for Martial Huber. He's up to 3rd position. He has just been able to clear Nathan Moore, so good job there. And yeah, he's recovered 2 of the positions that he lost before.
Yeah, he's got 1 second up to 2nd place, so we'll see if he's going to be able to show some speed. He's got around Nathan Moore, which is always tough to make a pass in any series, but especially when you have this caliber of drivers. They're very tight in the field, so he's starting to pull away a little bit, but he's got to get a little bit closer to get a little more of a slipstream effect. So we'll see. I mean, I see him catching up to him, Sam, but it'll be difficult to pass. So, but back to the leader of the amateur division, Thomas Mork, and he is that stop-and-go racing car. And that's a nice-looking livery there. And leading the AM division by 2 to 3 spots. But like you said, Sam, they're scored overall. So, I mean, you got to race everybody the same, especially in the beginning of the season, because you got to get as many points as possible each round, and you don't want to leave any on the table.
There are some really nice liveries, and this is one of them, for sure. Yeah, the way that the grey works well with the green. I don't know why, but I really like grey liveries. It just works. Grey with accents of some kind. Very good combination. And they've absolutely nailed that with the stop-and-go livery. This is a very tight battle, and this is on the outskirts of the top 40. Luke Mitchell Involti is 3rd in line here. He's chasing down Samuli Kuma, who lost a couple of places earlier on in this lap. Dominic Herbert, sorry. It's the fact that we got Huber, so I'm pronouncing everything like it's French. But it is just Herbert in 37th. You also got Elliot Hankin just being overtaken by David van der Waals in the background. The Olympus driver being overwhelmed by the GTR Evolution driver, and van der Waals, in fact, going into that 41st place now.
Yeah, this battle for around the 20th position with the Pro-Am drivers. This is,
I think that's a slowdown.
Slowdown, yeah. You hate to see it, Sam. You gotta be so mindful of the track limits, especially right before you go into a long straightaway, because there's so much time. But we race on. We're only just over 8 minutes into the race, so plenty of time to go. So plenty of time to go off track too, Sam. I mean, if it was me, I'd be off track, but I'd probably already be at the limit. So just got to be mindful, especially at Le Mans.
Well done to all the drivers who have synced up their cameras. Fantastic work, guys. We appreciate it. and you will get more airtime if you sync up your webcam. It is a fact. So Lars Devan doing that for effects simulations. In the chat, I think Paul's saying that's looking good for them. 1, 2, 3 in that category. So in the Pro category. So well done to them. There's Julian Retti as well. Virtual drives by Thrustmaster. That's a good camera. I like that one. And he's giving us the thumbs up. You can see the little light which tells him that he's on. So yes, good work as well from the T16.
Yeah, I was giving him a thumbs up too. So you know what's really cool, especially as we see him make a move. Let's look at his eyes as he makes a pass on someone. Gets into the corner. It was nice and easy pass. But that's my favorite thing of looking at someone direct on is how their eyes are looking, you know, left or right, or centered, just the way they're focusing in the corner. You can tell he's looking into the apex of the corner. So that's what's really cool about having the being able to see the eyes. But I'm sure he's a little nervous knowing he's on the air.
Yeah, well, that was a good time for him to go live as he pulled off a very nice overtake. Hubert has moved up into second place. He's got past Kayson. He hasn't really lost any time with that traffic. And so he's now just got 3 seconds to catch up to Espes. But Hubert was in a really nice place. Like, he could have just... Well, obviously, I'm not saying that he did it deliberately, but he made that mistake and it's denied him the opportunity to stick in the draft of Espes. Now he's got to work hard to close that gap. Then he can get into the draft, and then once he's in the draft, he's going to be able to save fuel. But even if he does catch up, he's lost 10 minutes of draft, 10 minutes of fuel saving, and instead he's having to work very hard instead. So he has made it tricky for himself, but he's still got a good chance at the race win.
Yeah, you know what though, Sam? Last 2 laps, he was quicker than Pablo, but Pablo ain't fuel saving either. He ain't got anybody to draft off him, so we'll see what happens. I mean, you just got to put your head down and drive. And there's Sandstrom is really putting his head down and driving. He's right behind Joshua Wilson. Big shout out to Wilson for maintaining that 8th position. Oh, he's moved up to 8th, started 9th. So a big shout out to him for maintaining that spot. Because sometimes, like, it's really good to get a good qualifying effort. Maybe just have 1 or 2 lap speed. But Wilson's proven that he belongs in this top 10.
Yeah, really is doing very well at the moment. Sandstrom, that last lap lost 1.5 seconds to the drivers he was around. Very odd. They're struggling seemingly so much in the race. Here comes Origi for PS competition. That was going to be confusing. Very popular, well, very successful BS competition. BMW-backed squad, but no, this is PS competition instead. He's got a couple of his fellow countrymen sat behind him, virtual drivers by Venom for Oscar Lefais. As we see 3 wide, are they all going to make it through? Behind was where the problem was. It was one of the Delachaz cars who got into Sandstrom, whose bad race just goes to worse, and he will be very fortunate if he hasn't got a meatball after that contact.
Yeah, 3 wide is always tough to get through, and he was definitely the one that was affected the most by it, but still really good battling so far. I mean, we take a look at this battle with the 11th position, and Austin William Campbell's trying to, he's right there on Bernier. Here he goes, here comes a move. Let's see if
well, Bernier might have damage because Bernier was the one who made contacts before, and I think that might be hurting his straight line speed because that seemingly was a very easy move. This might be a long 10 minutes for Bernier. They've got to get, I think, to about 20 minutes into the race before they can pit. You don't want to do 2 pit stops, obviously. Oh, someone's gone up ahead, and it's Thomas Mork. Our AM leader by a country mile has gone off in a high-speed accident, and you can see there is not a lot left of that Acura.
Yeah. You hate to see it. We take a look back at the SDK Gaming replay. Here's Thomas Mork, and let's see what happens here. Side by side. Ooh, a little bit of, he went to Will and twirling, spinning like a top. It's like the tilt-a-whirl at a carnival.
See, I mean, that's a bit of a classic iRacing where there seems to be trampolines surrounding the car, and that was a big sort of bounce into the wall there. To be fair, it was that high speed and under so much load, he may have lost the car anyway. But yeah, that was a big crash, and maybe we'll be thinking, should I have been fighting that hard? But of course he was there on pace. Bernier is losing more places now to Devan. Oh, hang on, what's going on with Bernier? Okay, he's coming to the pit. So that damage from Bernier is really bad. Maybe he can get to the end of the race from here. I mean, we saw, I think it was Busby, and he's in chat, so he can let us know. I think it was you, Paul, who did 50 minutes at Fuji last season. Now he's got to do 46 minutes at Le Mans. I think Le Mans worse on fuel than Fuji, like you're applying the thoughts of a larger amount of the lap. But it might be possible that you can get to the end of the race.
Yeah, it might be possible, Sam. I think you're only making that pit stop if you know you can't, make it around another lap or two, and he decided to make his way down into pit road, and comes a little early. We'll see if he can save enough fuel. Like you said, the window does open up around 20 minutes, but if you can get in the toe of somebody, you'll be able to save some fuel. Here's a pass for the 25th position. There's Marco going around Alessandro, 2 Italians, both sitting around where they started. Right now, your biggest mover of the day is 16 positions for Axel in the 29th position. So a lot of drivers making some moves, but some are making some falls.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Welcome as well to a few of the viewers who are supporting the Lion GP team. A couple of comments about how well at the moment George Caracales is doing, up there in 5th position. And yeah, he is doing very well. And of course, the other Lion GP drivers not doing bad themselves as well. So yeah, well done to all of those guys. Good to see them out on track. It has been a change. Campbell has got past Ibram. Still in effect simulations 1, 2, 3 in Pro-Am, but a change between 2nd and 3rd that may have been a bit orchestrated.
Yeah, it might have been a little orchestrated, but there it is. Oh, the flashing of the lights. That's what I like about these cars. You can hit that button and the lights start flashing just to say, hello, I'm here. Don't forget about me. I'm going to try to make a pass soon. But a nice breakaway, though, from the 11th back to 12th. So as you look at that battle for 12th, there's Sorensen. He's leading the amateur division after some incidents happen, and but sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. But he's doing a really good job right now, maintaining a 13th spot. He's at where he started, but he's kind of in a situation where he might be a little bit faster than Julian in front of him. So we'll see. But he's all sitting in a pretty good spot. And like you said earlier, Sam, be patient.
Paul Busby enlightening us when it comes to the strategy. 12 lap stint, then 6 laps. So it's an 18-lap race, and the most amount of laps you can do is 12. The driver who had the damage came in on lap 4, so he's 2 laps short. So he can't get to the end of the race. I'm surprised he didn't continue. Even if you have a meatball, you can continue round for a couple more laps. I think we might have another driver with a meatball. I think 2 drivers with a meatball. That is Lapalice round. That's a risky rejoin, but he's got away with it. That's Oscar. He's now going painfully slowly on the apex, but he does his best to get out of the way. And he's down to 24th place. And yeah, that's pretty awful for him. Oscar trying again to get out of the way. We've got LaRose now into the pits. I'm not sure if we're far enough into the race for him to get to the end either, because he only pits on lap 5, and several drivers having setbacks. There's also been an issue for Martial Hubert as well. He's lost 2 seconds on this lap and back into the clutches of Quaison.
Yeah, you got to be so cautious here to maintain your speed and not go too off the track or even just have a bad turn. So, like you said, falling back to 3rd a little bit, but Pablo's just keeping it perfect right now, running a good, clean race, and trying to make sure these 2 cars are looking at don't catch up to them any closer.
And that's Quaison, who will be able to use a little bit less fuel with how far behind they are. I suppose it won't make a huge difference, but a nice corner there from Hubert to be able to pull a few car lengths away from his rival. Acura top 11 at the moment. That is not something we saw last season at any point. I'm not sure if an Acura led too much. I think we had a couple of the Pure Sims guys who were in Acuras, but they were very limited last season. So good to see the brand a little bit more represented this championship. Of course, still Wilson leading the Pro-Ams, and reminded that Sorensen, as we were paying attention to about half a lap ago, still leader of the AMs as well. And Pavona still making his way up through the order. He's trying to get past Guiado for 22nd place, but Guiado is up 9 places from his race. So he's one of the highest gainers of anyone in the top 25 places. Highest gainers overall are Axel Gulsmel in 27th, Henry Joslin in 28th. They're both up 18 places, and yeah, have gained more places than anyone else.
It's a pretty good start to a race as we're just getting to a third of the way through to move up 18 spots. And then another driver is Kukin, who's moved up 9 spots, and he's up into 16th. So a lot of drivers are really starting to make some moves up the field, and as we get closer to this halfway point, expect to maybe see some drivers come into the pits. But the one thing is, Sam, being the first round of the season, we got somebody went off track there. That's Marco there. Unfortunate for him, but we'll see when these drivers make the pits, whether they're going to underpit or overcut. I'm not quite sure what the right move is for that, Sam, but looking at Pavona and just sitting in a good spot. And
What's that curb?
That curb.
I think there was a driver, I can't remember what series it was, but they did that 3 times in about an hour, and they never learnt their lesson, where every time they were just driving up to it, putting 2 wheels on the curb very nonchalantly, but would spin like every other time that they did it. And that's the risk of that curb. It is slippery. It does unsettle. Are you
talking about me, Sam?
Was it you? Maybe.
No, but I've done it a lot, so
it could have been. It could have been you. We'll say that it was.
Yeah, you have to be careful with the curbs here. Like I said earlier, Sam, I was driving. Oh, look at Julian! Just that track limits. I've been driving these cars for a couple weeks, and yeah, the curbs are dangerous. So keep an eye on the drivers on how much you're going to use and abuse the curbs. Speaking of pitting, Sandstrom has come down pit road, sitting in 32nd place. We'll see. He had that damage, had to get it fixed.
Yeah, and that was lap 6, so it's very much corresponding to what Busby was saying. That they can go 12 laps, and we've got 12 laps to go. So this is a good time to pit if you have damage. And I think in terms of your point when it came to the overcut or the undercut, I think definitely the overcut is the way to go. I mean, you're going to be running less fuel. The drivers might take 2 tyres, because I think you're going to need to put so much fuel in the car anyway that you get 2 tyres free. You might even get 4 tyres. I think it doesn't take that much more time to take 4 tyres than 2 tyres, because you're stationing for fuel for so long. Unfortunately, that's going to be a slowdown, right? Surely that's got to be a slowdown for the Acura just a couple of places up. That was Herbion who went across. He's absolutely fine. That's an insane line. He just straight lined the second Mulsanne chicane, but he got away with it. But yeah, the fuel and tyres are taken simultaneously in this car, so it does take away a little bit of the strategy element. So everyone will take either 2 tyres or 4 tyres, I think.
Yeah, I think it really depends on what's your situation in the timing of where you're going to fit. Like Pablo, he's taking 4 tyres, I think, just because you have a 5-second gap. Why not take them? But you see a good passing attempt here with Sorensen, going to try to get back around Tomas and not Tomas, sorry. Tomas Sorensen trying to get around Renault, and there's a good idea, Sam, but we also seen a bad idea around that same part of the track.
Yeah, it has gone badly before at that section. There's a couple of aggressive moves there from Maguire in order to try to get past Sorensen. He wasn't able to pull either of them off. So Sorensen down to 14th place now, Herbion up into 13th. So Sorensen down 1 place from where he started. Here is Caracolas, still in 5th place in this nice battle with Bion and Delachaz. Like I said earlier on, Delachaz did win at this circuit in the ASUS Apex Racing League Endurance Championship last year. By far his best round. He was really strong. I cannot honestly remember who his teammate was on that day. They were strong as well, but particularly Delachaz was really good. So he knows this circuit well. That was in the LMP2, but you know, I think it still applies a decent amount. So Delachaz, if he could get 5th place here, that would be a very satisfying result for him, as
Slowdown.
of the gyros ahead of him got a slowdown, and Delachaz very quickly did move up to 5th place.
That's the best way to make a pass. When you're getting ready to go around somebody and the 2 guys in front of you get a slowdown. So he's probably like getting a nice little chuckle of for that, just to get around and get some clean air. So we'll see if he's able to pull away. As we look at the leader of the Pro-Am division, Joshua Wilson, has not looked back. He's up 1 spot, but Austin William Campbell, but just under a second quicker the last time around. So we'll see if he's going to start catch up to him, and give Wilson a fight for the Pro-Am win.
I think you gotta, they gotta race, right? Because they're going to be at the top of the championship for most of the season. If they don't race now, then this is going to be a very dull season if they don't race. So they're going to be thinking about the Drivers' Championship. Of course, they're not going to, you know, they're going to leave a bit more margin for it. But yeah, it is a proper race between those drivers. It's not going to be a whole lot of team wars. Credit to Retzi as well for being up in 10th place and breaking up that top 3 as it stands. Here goes that's Devan then past Ibram. So Ibram's dropping back a little bit now, but still affects simulations 1, 2, 4, 5. But yeah, Ibram is slowly dropping down the order. Doesn't seem to have the same pace of his teammates right now.
Yeah, it's still almost at the halfway point, but still time to find a little bit more pace. But like good move, he's up 5 spots, so really moving up the field. Actually, the 2 drivers in front of him are also up 5 spots. So, and the 2 drivers behind him are also up 5. So I mean, a lot of drivers are moving up 5 spots. So it's a good move by him. But looking back at that battle for 30th, David Vanderwels and the Olympus esports car is just sitting in a good spot. You know, was down 13 spots from a couple incidents, but able to keep working his way back up to the field. We'll see if he gets around Archer. Peeks to the outside, goes for the trying to go underneath them, but not able to get around him yet, Sam. So as we get to the halfway point, David's just going to try to put the head down, try to click off some good laps. But speaking of good laps, look who just ran the fastest lap of the day.
Yeah, 3/10 faster for Hubert than the rest of the drivers. This lap, he's lost. I mean, it's so close. Sector 1. 10th between them, Sector 2, 10th between them, Sector 3 matched, Sector 4 matched, Sector 5 half a 10th, Sector 6 matched, Sector 7 was the only difference, 1.5 tenths advantage for Hubert. He takes out 300ths across the lap, but it's insanely close. And that 5-second gap, you know, you got half an hour, you got 33 minutes even. Usually you'd be thinking, I can make that up by the end, but Espes is giving Martial so little right now. Meanwhile, Martial has given Espes 2 slowdowns, and that's been the difference between the 2 drivers.
I was just going to say that's the big difference between those 2. Espes may give a little bit of time, maybe a couple tenths every lap, but when it's the other way around, Martial is getting the slowdown and losing 1.5 seconds. So you got to keep it on the track. You got to avoid the slowdowns, and that just, cause it ends up just really hurting your time more than pushing helps you. They just get around. Not sure if that was.
I think that may have been slowed down for Kruk, because he was inexplicably very slow. So maybe trying to wait a while to serve that slowdown. Now that Porsche can start accelerating again, he's going to have a double slipstream on Sorensen and Chivot. Sorensen slowly dropping down. He's now down 2 places from his race start. Is Sorensen. Kuken wasting absolutely no time. He's going to immediately try to get back to that place. A little bit of headlight flashing, maybe just to indicate I'll slot in behind and not fight too much. I think that's what the sign was, at least. And Kruken does move up to 16th place. Had a few more drivers come into the pits. Van der Waals, Balate, and Sereno have all come into the pits. And yeah, here they are coming to a stop.
Yeah, they're going to come in. Let's see what they're going to do. If they're going to be able to hold off to get that time. When people come and do the pits, Sam, I'm always looking at our timing and scoring app to try to get a good guesstimate how long it takes. So keeping an eye on that, and I'll try to get the info when I calculate it. I'm not really good at math, so we'll see what happens.
Got a question on the chat saying, how did you get the WEC broadcast theme? Oh, it's all provided by SDK Gaming. You can check out SDK Gaming at sdk-gaming.co.uk. Yeah, you can get this template for the overlay, or you can use like an F1 2018 start overlay. You can get a NASCAR start overlay as well, and a few other designs. And of course, that's just the overlays. You've also got live timing, you've got a heads-up display for whilst you're racing. Loads of stuff available through SDK Gaming. So do visit sdk-gaming.co.uk in order to get yourself a subscription. Here is Galsmel. I think he's just got past Pavona. He is some 2 seconds up faster than Pavona. Galsmel with really good pace. He starts down in 45th. That's why he's in trouble at the moment. But the Dirtchaz Automotive driver is thundering his way through. It's a shame that he's already a minute off the lead. Yeah, we'll see how much further he can get up.
Yeah, trying to make a couple moves to get back up the field. Axel up 21 spots, just moving and grooving. And William Campbell starting to catch up to Wilson. They just a little bit, lost a little bit the last lap, but he's got a little bit more pace. But we'll see what he's able to get back going up to the field.
Yeah, if anything, it's mainly Vetty who's catching him from behind, 0.3 of a second faster. That time down for Julian, who last time we went on board with him, he nearly binned it immediately. I think he may have been a bit put off by the lights that comes on to tell you that you're being watched. This time Julian seems a little bit more in control, and he's now going to start getting the toe as well. Oh, as that's a mistake. Had to lift out of the thoughts of De Campbell. And Julian's going to get an even better draft now down the Mulsanne. He's 0.56 behind, and I think that will gradually decrease ever so slightly. You can check out the live timing, by the way. There's a link to that in the description below. And if you do see that, you can see Campbell gaining about a 1/10 of a second on this straight.
Yeah, you see the light, and it's like, we're watching you. But Kruken, we've said his name a lot, Sam, had a couple slowdowns, but got back going. He's sitting in the 16th spot, up 9 positions, and right now, if he can finish where he's at, it's going to be a really good point stay for round number 1.
Yeah, really good point stay for him. Guiardo, I think, has just gained a place. He go past Byram, I think, for 19th. There he is. Another one of the Acuras. Herbert and Kumo have come into the pits, by the way. I think those two have been glued to one another for the most part. By the way, Busby, who is our new Ted Kravitz, has said that they'll take all 4 tyres. I wasn't quite sure if the fuel was quite long enough in order to warrant taking all 4 tyres, but it seems like it is. These cars do take a lot of fuel. Like, it does take a while to refuel these cars. I think it was, and again, Busby can correct me on this, it's like nearly a minute, isn't it, to refuel the car completely. Like, it's a really long time. So yeah, there is plenty of time to get those tyres done, as long as you take about half a tank. This is riding on board Sorensen, and the pressure is building and building. Still ahead of Cook, and of course, as we were saying before, Matthew Trivets is trying to get up there and try and make it an even better day for effect simulations. However, meanwhile, Sorensen is got his hands full of Crooken, who comfortably moves past. And of course, this is where you want to move past before the corners start on this layout, and this is where you can start, perhaps, to pull away.
Yeah, we'll see. This is a really good part of the track here where you can really get a good mindset on what the other guys are doing. And just honestly, a lot of people say that right after the long straight is the toughest part, but this is always the toughest part of the track for me. You're always on edge. And if you don't get through the corner, especially when you're following somebody with the dirty air. I was talking to some of the drivers that run these cars, and they said the dirty air just makes a huge difference. So as you see, Matthew had to brake a little bit, was braking a little bit later than Sorensen was, but able to maintain a really good pace. So I really see him trying to make a move. I think he's got to get around him just because he's got a little bit more pace, but you want to catch up and pass as many drivers as you can because you get scored on where your overall finish is.
Earlier on, by the way, and I am going to bring this up because I have a low self-esteem and I need compliments from other people. Thompson's Sim Sports, which of course is Patrick Thompson, who has been very strong in Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup recently, saying, "I'm rooting for Sam, legendary commentator." And I'm going to take that and I'm going to point it out as well because I am very insecure. So thank you, Patrick, for all those kind words.
Yeah, he's not lying because it's true, Sam. A legendary commentator, the voice of the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship is Sam Fitzpatrick.
A few years ago, I was commentating with the legend that is Marco Barbanera, and Marco got voted Commentator of the Year, and I got voted Sidekick of the Year. And that really did knock me quite a bit, and I'm still very much recovering from it. So comments like that do help me recover. So thank you.
Yeah, you've recovered very well, Sam.
Delachaz is well, these guys now 5th and 6th. Of course, they were chasing down. Who were they chasing down before? Or have they... Because this was a trio, I think. Or maybe it's just Caracallis who's just dropped off the back of these guys. Because Caracallis was... In fact, Caracallis was ahead of these guys. Then, of course, we saw the slowdown, didn't we? And that allowed Delachaz to move past the pair of them. And since then, Caracallis is now 3 seconds back. And, of course, well out of the slipstream. So, a couple of mistakes, it seems like, from George. And it's left him in a lonely 7th.
Yep, it's usually when you're sitting in that 7th spot, you won't be as lonely. But we take a look at the battle for 11th place, and Devan is got a lot of heavy traffic from James behind him. We'll see if James will be able to get by him. The last lap, actually, the last lap was their best lap.
Ooh, change the lead. What's happened to Espes?
Ooh,
has he come into the pits? No, I think he's made a mistake, and I think he's hit the wall as well. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we were saying how Hubert's mistakes have been some slowdowns. Well, that's even worse. Espes will be able to duck into the pits, and he may have even been coming into the pits on this lap because Hubert has dived in. And, well, dare I say, this should be a comfortable race victory now for Martial Hubert. And Pablo Espes is just going to try to recover 2nd place.
Oh, you hate to see it. We were just preaching about how mistakes were made by Hubert, but Pablo here around the curb. Ooh.
He's already run a little bit deep, hasn't he? It looks like.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can see how big his gap was. He was 5 seconds ahead. He was maintaining the gap. And then that.
Yeah, but as we always say, Sam, we race on. Now, everybody is coming down the pits to get their fuel and tires.
Well, yeah, this is lap 11. Of course, Busby was saying how you can do 12 laps. So a few drivers not quite making the 12 laps, or maybe going for an undercut. Oh, this is all very messy, isn't it? These are big cars. It's a very narrow pit lane. And yeah, they're all trying to get in at the same time. But I'd say about half the field have now pitted. Maybe more than that. It's actually the pros who have been able to do the 12 laps, and then it's these pro-ams and the ams who have only been able to make it 11.
There's Luis going to come down and make his pit stop. Always good to see some of the Apex Racing TV personnel out running with the Apex Racing League drivers.
Yeah, we've spoken about Samuli a little bit. Haven't spoken too much about Luis. But watch out for Luis this season. I think he's going to be one of the highest placed AM drivers. I think he's one of the highest I-rated AM drivers is Luis. And I think he is very enthusiastic about this car, so we've got high hopes for him.
Oh yeah, high hopes.
But we've got cars merged within one another. We're fortunate that this isn't Daytona or one of the other Rovals, otherwise they wouldn't be making contact in the pit lane. And after all that, it's Byram ahead of Cathode. Seems like Byram had a pretty long pit stop. He was stationed for 34 seconds, which I can only imagine is just taking some extra fuel, but we've got quite a range. Some guys have been able to do 26-second pit stops. Some guys, 34. That, again, that's just fuel. That's not tyres. So I'm not sure why there's that much difference. Maybe just the fuel saving aspect of it, but 8 seconds seems to be a big variance.
Yeah, there's like I've said before, Sam, the you gotta get in and out of pit road, and your out lap is super important with the cold tires and don't overdrive it. We'll see where Espes is. If he can try to run him back down, I think it's gonna be tough because it's a 7-second gap between him and Hubert. So I mean, it's gonna be tough, but we've seen him make off tracks. I mean, you have to be perfect, and we're 40 minutes into this race. So it's, just under 20 minutes to go, and at what point it's so hard when with the super fast drivers like we have in the pro class. Their slow is still super fast, and then their fast is just crazy super fast. So we'll see how they push the limits here.
Quick shout out, by the way, to VRS, one of the other sponsors for this series, along with SDK Gaming. VRS providing their hardware equipment with their pedals, their wheelbase, and their wheel rim. And if you want to check out any of those products, do visit apexracingsim.com in order to purchase your own. The pedals in particular always get super good reviews from everyone who tries them. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say anything bad about them, to be honest. I've had many friends who have bought them, and they've all thought very positive of them. And so do check out apexracingsim.com in order to get your own. Hubert moves back to the lead. I think the question is, who's going to be second place? Cason should be just ahead of Espes, but Espes is coming up pretty quick. Moore might just be ahead as well. There goes the Wavitz lead driver, and he is still in third position. 9 seconds off the lead is Espes, so it's just a case. Oh, there's a mistake from Moore, and well, fortunately he's had a nice gap to Beyond, so he'll stay in fourth place, but any hope of putting some pressure on Espes is well and truly gone now.
Yeah, he doesn't want to have any more of that happen to him, so but he's able to get back going and sitting in fourth place. I think the big question is, for this top three, is which car is going to rotate and motivate the most? Which driver is going to be able to maintain a good pace here? Like these drivers here, the battle for, I believe it is the 10th position, and James sitting in a good spot. It's currently where he started in that 12th spot, so he's starting to pull back a little bit from Devan in front of him. So maybe a little bit of a mistake, but 42 minutes into this race, we still got plenty of time to catch back up.
Seemed like he was pretty low on grip there. Maybe coming out of the pits with the cold tyres maybe hurts him, because that car did not seem very compliant whatsoever, particularly the understeer. It seems to be hurting him quite a bit. But James doing it's good that he's back up to 12th place. I feel like he may have dropped further down than that at one point, but he's a bit more comfortable now in that position. Crooken did a 22-second stop. I wonder if he's pushed that too far as Crooken. That is 2 seconds shorter than anyone else. The other guy who was very short actually was Bernier. He did 24 and he sat right behind him. But they are the only guys below 26 seconds. So 22 seconds is extreme. I mean, Tobias, oh no, I mean, forget about the fuel. That's the least of his worries now because he's just crashed. That's going to lose him a few places. No, though he might stay ahead of Sandstrom. Not ahead of Sandstrom, and Tobias, who gained 12 places, gives up 5 of them with that mistake.
Yeah, you got to be super careful, especially, coming out of the pits. But, the one thing I always keep in mind, Sam, is when you're doing the fuel, I always try to be a little bit more on the conservative side, even though I usually lose some spots. But, these drivers are, they run the prototypes a lot. They got, people that support them to help them figure out when they can come down and box. So hopefully they'll still be okay. But hey, it's pushing the limits of 22 seconds of pit time.
I've been using, and this demonstrates just how little iRacing I do, but when I was racing a few weeks ago, I started using the iRacing calculator thing, and it's really good. Like, you leave a little bit of margin for error, you leave one lap in, and I can just turn off my brain. Gone are the days of me having to rack my brain. I know I could spend, actually get a fuel calculator, but I usually never get around to doing it. So the iRacing system is nice. So thanks to iRacing for bringing that in. Maybe a bit overdue, but it does make life easier.
Yeah, I like the auto fuel thing, but I go into a race, I make sure the auto fuel's checked, and I make sure my Apex Racing Academy setup is loaded, so I can be somewhat competitive in the race. So that's my my 2 checklists when I get into the race, get into a practice or a race.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of Apex Racing Academy, and the other sponsor for this series, providing setups for cars just like this, the GTPs, but also GT3 cars, touring cars, rallycross as well, and many other categories on iRacing. So do check out their data packs over apexracingac.com, designed by some of the very best drivers in the world. And of course, it also includes coaching as well from those guys, and always the coaching aspect in particular valuable as anything. And that could be an in-person thing, could be a group coaching session, or could just be asking questions on the Apex Racing Academy Discord in order to find those extra few tenths of a second. Always is very useful stuff. We were just looking at Nathan Moore keeping behind Tanguy Beyond. Now we're watching Henry Jocelyn in 33rd place. He sat behind Luis Araya in 32nd place overall. Thomas Mork, by the way, who of course had to tow back to the pits early on, he's now had to make an extra pit stop because of that first pit stop was too early, and he drops behind these drivers.
Good catch on there, Sam. He had a really good run, but the nice thing is it's still a pretty long season, Sam, so he can definitely recover from a rough points day here at Le Mans. So look to see him come back next week, same place, same time, and come back with a vengeance and try to get some really good points. But today it might not have been his day, but it's looking really good for a lot of these drivers. And one thing I want to point out, Sam, is that Joshua Wilson, 8th position, up 1. He's maintained his starting spot and moved up the field. As you see, the drivers we're looking at now, Renard there just sitting back about 20 seconds, but he's showed a lot of pace too. And that battle for 10th that Julian, I love this kind of look with those cameras. Just look at the eyes into the apex, and it really shows, like, when you drive, on how much you work your eyes around the monitors. So those are the 2 drivers that are battling not side by side, battling with each other. And you look at them side by side on your screen.
It's something that I, every now and again, this could be a dive. He is going to really thought about it to Devan. He's been able to put Retzi offline, and Devan running within millimeters of the car ahead. He's now made a mistake though, and to cover off Ibram, although they are teammates obviously, so it'd be wild for them to start racing too hard. A little bit of an odd one with Retzi, because he was chasing down Campbell at one point, of course, wasn't he? But he lost 3 seconds in the pit stop to the drivers around him, and maybe lacking a little bit of pace, and all of a sudden it's looking very much like it could genuinely be an Effect Simulations 1, 2, 3, 4 in the Pro-Am category. The only guy who isn't up there is Trivets, I believe, who's in 8th place in class, but the other lot of them are doing phenomenally well.
Yeah, I like that move by Devan, though. Throw a little fakie in there to try to get him to make a mistake, but he ended up being the one that made a little mistake. So still, you know, just under 12 minutes to go. So I think he's got it. Could have another good chance, but Ibram just has not a good last sector there, and he's going to really lose some time on Devan there. So, but they might be able to catch back up.
I think Bernier is going to catch him by the end of the race. Bernier's actually down 2 places from his race start, isn't he? Yeah, maybe not Bernier, but I mean, he got a decent amount at least after that mistake. Back to this battle, it's one of the closest ones going out on circuit. And on that last lap, Jocelyn lost a lot of time. He lost 10 seconds, did Henry Jocelyn, that last time out. So it was a decent way clear of these guys. He was up in 29th place, I think, before. And now he's back to the 32nd position and attempting to recover some more places. Currently running in 15th place in the Pro-Am category. And that's a decent run for him as well, coming out of the Ford chicane. He's going to have a good chance into Dunlop this time round. Going to use all the power from that Porsche to be able to overwhelm the one of the few Cadillacs that we have out on the track. But Orion this time safe from the attack behind.
Yeah,
it's the battle for second.
Yeah, this is a battle for second, and Paulo has really put on some good laps as of recent. A couple tenths faster, and then Kassan there up in second. But it's one thing to catch him; it's another thing to pass him. So, with just under 10 minutes to go, I just think he's going to really need to start pushing the limits and try to get around him and try to pull away, because if he doesn't get around Kassan in the next couple laps, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it.
So it should be an 18-lap race as this could go for it right here. Yes, he is going to go for it. No hesitation whatsoever. Saw the mistake. Oh, as now that's a mistake as well from Kason. And that is not what he needed. He needs to stay right close in order to stay in the draft and potentially overtake him back at the start of the next lap. But that has killed his momentum heading into the Porsche curves, and the gap is already at half a second. He really needs to nail these next few corners in order to keep himself in with a chance. So I think a little bit of a oversteer again. There's an almost oversteer, nearly contact as this battle resumes. And yeah, there really is no team orders at all, are there, between these two, because they are super close to one another. Ibram's still behind Devan.
Yeah, just carried a little bit more speed, Ibram did, over Devan. So, you know, I think they have a chance to catch back up, but Bernier is also kind of catching them a little bit with second. 1 second back, and he was 3 tenths quicker last time around. So I mean, if my high school math does me well, he might catch up.
I can say that my further education maths says that he will catch up. So he is looking good there. There was a change, by the way. Van der Waals got past Byram. It's up to 26th position now, and Archer in what I think is a very nice livery. I'm always a fan of orange on a livery. I'm a fan of orange on Apex Racing TV. And I think the blue works pretty well on that machine. He is chasing down Oscar Lapalais for 31st position, but I think actually it might be Lapalais who's just made that move. So he's up into first as the Frenchman at his home track. And they haven't got Oriya and LaRose too far up the road, so there might still be some more action around this part of the track.
Yeah, orange and blue is close to home, Sam. That was my hockey team colors when I was playing back when I could skate a little easier. So that's always cool seeing a blue and orange livery, and it brings me back to the glory days. But this is a good battle here. We'll see if Sandstrom's going to get around him, but on that top end speed, he seemed to suffer, but he's got to outbrake him. Tucks back underneath though. Thinks wiser of that.
Sandstrom looking much better than what he was earlier on now. Like, it's clear that he had a bit of damage at least in the second half of that first stint, he was one of the first drivers to come into the pits. He appeared on lap 6, and so he had to put in a fill the tank to full. He took the same amount of fuel as everyone else because he already had some fuel in the tank, but he had to pit really early, and he looks a lot more comfortable now, does the Swedish driver. And these guys have got good pace. They're in the 22s. You compare that to maybe Devan in 11th place in the 23s. So they are catching up, but at this point in the race, it's not going to be enough. They've got Trivett further 3 seconds back and pulling away from him nicely. Of course, they were around Kukken before he spun shortly after his pit stop. Still wait to see if Kukken can actually get to the end of the race after taking so little fuel earlier on. I think he's probably having to fuel save at the moment. But Sandstrom has no thoughts of that at the moment. He is absolutely concentrating on passing Herbie, but so far on this lap, it seems like he does not have the straight line speed to do so. Maybe he's set up that Acura to be a bit more of a weapon when it comes to the corners.
Yeah, Sandstrom trying to regroup from a couple instances, but Devan is caught back up to Julian in the top 10 spot, trying to move up in the... not Devan, he's starting to catch back up. Devan and Ibram, it's Bernier, excuse me, and oh, yep, just gonna give way. I wouldn't say it's not a team order. He knew he was faster, so you just got to let him by. Maybe they can catch back up. So now he's got a hard charge in Bernier in front of him, but can Ibram catch up to Julian there? It's last lap just a little bit slower, but he also had the traffic. So now he's got clean-ish air, and he'll have a couple laps to try to catch up.
Ooh, into the pits. It's Bernier.
Bernier.
So Bernier was the other one who took very little fuel, 24 seconds. He had the second shortest pit stop of anyone. I guess he's thought that it was only going to be a 17-lap race. I mean, we're easily going to get to 18 laps. Like, it's not even close. He's just had an absolute mare there, it's Bernier. What a shame. And one of our pro drivers will slip down the ice a long old pit lane as well here at Le Mans. He'll take minimal fuel, but he's stationary now for some 10 seconds. I don't know what he's waiting around for. 9.5. It seems like more fuel than he needed, honestly. I thought he would only need about 3 seconds of fuel. And he's now trundling down the pit lane. He's going to re-enter the circuit barely in the top 25.
Yep, that's the risk you take if you want to take the least amount of fuel you can to potentially only go, 17 laps. But it's looking like a healthy 18. So we always learn from every race. Maybe next time I'll take a little bit more fuel. But he's laying in the bed that he already made. So, but that's we kind of saw it coming a little bit, Sam, just because taking that a little bit amount of fuel. So, but. It is what it is. He'll move on, and there's some little blockage action there, just breaking the draft, and we'll see if Sandstrom's going to be able to make a move.
Yeah, and that weaving, it is allowed, as long as the driver behind isn't within a car length. So once they get within a car length, you got to start staying in a straight line. Otherwise, it can get a bit dangerous. Of course, it's one of those things where if you're weaving around, you do pretty much become impossible to overtake, because the driver behind, if they have a brain, will realize that you're going to inevitably crash if you are swerving each way, and so there does need to be a limit on it eventually. Trivets getting past Sorensen. No, he's been caught by Sorensen. Poor few laps for Trivet. He's struggled recently. He lost 2 seconds that last time round. He didn't take much fuel to Trivet. He only took 26 seconds. Maybe he's under-fueled and needs to fuel save, I don't know, but his pace is not nice right now.
I think we're okay at 26 seconds of pit time, so just because, a couple of drivers are 27, 28, and oh my goodness, the times are starting to drop. Espes and Hubert are just only drivers hit the 320 the last time around. Man, look to see a fast time, but Sorensen, as we look on board him, catch up to Trivet, and yes, position really matters to get some more points. But I kind of like unless Trevette gives Sorensen the spot, I kind of just like staying behind him because, I mean, yeah, you can get more points, but you can also lose a lot if you junk the car. So he's got about 2 seconds back to 18th place. So, but really good job for Sorensen to maintain. He's only lost 4 spots, but still maintain a good pace throughout the race.
Yeah, and still winner of the AMs at the moment. Credit to Soren Kroll. It's catching up in the second half of the race, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He's got Kraken to deal with ahead. Oh, into the pits comes Kraken. Well, we anticipated it. 22 seconds, it wasn't enough. I thought he may have been fuel saving enough, but yeah, I don't know where they. I can only imagine the confusion has come from. They've calculated their fuel based on having the draft in the first stint, and then they've come out of the pits for their second stint and realised I've got no one to drag me around. And Kraken, of course, had to move his way through the order in the first stint, so he was very much being held up, which would have been saving him fuel because he's not going as quick. He would have been in slipstream the entire time, and so yeah, that's what caused him issues. Essentially, having issues, he's just gone wide and picked up a slowdown, and I think that's his attempts at catching up to Herbie on gone, because this is the final lap of the race, and the 60-minute mark is coming up in just a few moments.
Yeah, it's been such a fantastic round number 1 at Le Mans, and yeah, there is a 9-second gap, but it wasn't because Hubert was just that much faster. It was just Pablo damaged the car right before he came into pit, but every driver made just some little mistakes that can cause or hurt them, but it just can hurt them, but it was still a fantastic race, and that's what makes this track fun. Like, it's so close to going off track, and you just have to be very cautious, and the drivers have put on a heck of an effort tonight.
Yes, it's been a great performance from Hubert and Espes, because I think when they haven't been making mistakes, there hasn't been anything between them. Like, when Hubert initially made that mistake, he lost 3 seconds, and there was 3 seconds separated them for 10 minutes. Then he made another mistake, went up to 5 seconds. 5 seconds separated them for 10 minutes. And then in this second stint, since they pitted on the 40-minute mark, it's always been 9 seconds. It's going to be a terrific championship between the two of them. Espes will be frustrated that he was given such a chance in the first half of the race to take first blood this season. But instead, it's going to be the Apex Racing Academy driver on his Apex Racing League debut, Martial Hubert, to take the race victory at Le Mans. It is a phenomenal drive, and he takes it by 9 seconds ahead of Espes. It is our top 2 I-rated drivers finishing in the top 2 positions. It looks like our Pro-Am winner, as it has been for the entire race really, Joshua Wilson in 8th place overall. He was one of our favourites. All the FX Simulations drivers, we knew they were going to have a chance, and Wilson has delivered even more than the rest.
Yeah, 4 seconds is the gap between him and Campbell, so a really good race for Joshua, keeping the nose clean, running good clean laps, and coming home with the Pro-Am victory.
And it's an amazing day for FX Simulations. Campbell finishes in second place. Ritzy upsets it slightly by getting on the podium, but there goes Ibram managing to beat Devan to 11th place. And top of the amateur drivers, it is going to be Thomas Sorensen. That gap to Kroll down to 1.3 seconds. That's the smallest it's been for the whole race, but Sorensen held on and gets 17th place overall. And whilst his teammate Thomas Mork had an absolute nightmare with a crash down at Indianapolis, there was no such issues for Sorensen, who was able to take advantage and complete what was a very promising round. It wasn't points for Mork, but it was still promising pace for the pair of them. Byram, I think, having to serve a slowdown right at the end, needs to make sure that he serves that, otherwise you get a 40-second stop, or 40-second post-race penalty. He cost line Cook, one of the most frustrated drivers, of course, having to take that extra pit stop. And I think stories for a lot of the drivers out there in this first race of the season.
Yeah, this first race season went very well, Sam, and you see drivers, use their luck, try to push their luck a little bit for taking a little less fuel. We saw some that stayed in the pits a little bit longer. And then the other thing with these prototypes, we saw drivers that really pushed the limits after getting the 4 fresh tires, and it really hurt them because with those cold tires, it's really easy to spin the car out. So we saw different strategies, which is always good to see, with an undercut and the overcut. And then the other thing that was really impressive, we saw great racing, Sam. Saw a lot of good overtake attempts, and overall, for the first 1 hour race, a very clean race.
Yeah, extremely good quality driving from the vast majority of the guys. As I think we it's going to be pretty great for the rest of the season if it continues for the like this. We just got one more drive to come online, and we might just go to a quick advert whilst we wait for a few interviews, but do join us back in a moment as we chat further about the race. Thanks to Apex Racing Simulators for sponsoring the broadcast. And of course, if you want to go to the place where all that stuff in that trailer was filmed, do visit Corby in the UK, where you can try out one of the many VRS setups that we have over at our headquarters. And you'll be very welcome, of course, to check out apexracingsim.com in order to book yourself a session for yourself, or a session with friends, or anything like that. Shall we have a quick look at the results? I won't go through all the names because we have sleep to get and interviews to be held. But there is Huber winning out ahead of Espes and Casson. They were the podium sitters. In the Pro-Ams, it was Wilson ahead of Campbell ahead of Retty, so 2 out of 3 for Effect Simulations. And in the AMs, it was Sorensen, Kroll and Cathode. I missed out for Cathode, but 1 and 3 for Stop and Go Racing. If it weren't for the issue for Mork, then it would have been 1, 2 and 4 for them. So another very strong team along with Effect for this season. Let's have a chat with a couple of our drivers. I think first we'll drag up Thomas Sorensen, who joins us now because he was our amateur race winner for tonight. Thomas, congratulations.
Thank you.
You absolutely pretty much drove that one perfectly. I mean, let's take it from the start. That qualifying lap really put you right up in amongst the top drivers.
Yeah, it was a fantastic qualifying for both me and my teammate Thomas Mork. And the race went pretty chill, to be honest. The Porsche is an absolute tractor on the straights, though. The Acuras were just flying by, so there were really nothing I could do there. But overall, it was a really, really good race.
How was Thomas with the crash? It seemed like I mean we only saw it on the once on the replay, but I imagine he's probably a bit frustrated. Or was there any explicitives afterwards?
Yeah, he was he was not very happy though. I'm not sure what happened, but he was yelling at one point in our team radio. So I don't think he was too happy about it.
Well, I'm sure he'll be able to bounce back, and I mean he had extremely good pace, like yourself, for tonight. Looking ahead to the rest of the championship, of course, following the IMSA schedule for this season, are there any tracks that you're really looking forward to visiting?
It's going to be interesting at the Nürburgring. I think it's a really difficult track, so I'm looking forward to it, and I'm a bit afraid of it as well at the same time.
That's going to be great.
Yeah.
For those who aren't aware, we're not talking about the GP layout. We're talking about the combined layouts for that round. It will need to be another, maybe no, to be fair, it starts on the GP, doesn't it? So it can probably be double file. But that'll be a very good race, and I think you guys will absolutely love driving on that one. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Thomas?
Of course, my team, Stop and Go Racing, my two teammates, Thomas Morgan, Morten Kofod, and you guys for hosting this amazing race, or this series, sorry.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the kind words, Thomas. And well, best of luck that you can keep up this good form next week.
Thank you very much.
Thomas Sorensen there for Stop and Go Racing, your winner in the amateur category. Avery, who do you want to track up?
I think I'd like to chat with our winner of the Pro-Am division, Joshua Wilson, has joined alongside us with the booth. Joshua, congratulations on winning the Pro-Am class here at Le Mans for round number 1. How was the race from your eyes?
Hi guys, that was sweaty and painful. I don't think I've ever had to concentrate so hard for an whole hour ever in my life, but it was fun and worth it, so pretty good.
Yeah, you put on a good effort, and like Thomas said in the last interview, the Acura's were just so much quicker on the straightaways, and we asked him this question. We're going to ask you the same one. Is there any track that you're really looking forward to coming up on the schedule?
Sebring. I like Sebring a lot. I've not driven it in the Acura before. This is the first time I've raced the Acura as well. I was gonna go Caddy, but I think the bop is just it's a little bit weird at the moment. So I went Acura, and it felt pretty good. It took a while to get used to it, but yeah, it's feeling alright now. I've gotten used to it.
You look pretty good out there as well. Moving up one spot from where you qualified, and qualifying is super important, especially here where we had the single file restart. Before we let you go, is anybody like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd give a shout out to Tim at effectsimulations.com. Go check out their rigs, and shout out to all my teammates that had epic results all across the board. They all kept it halal. It was pretty good for us.
Yeah, we thank them too for supporting you. Well, congratulations on the win again, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
That was our winner in Pro-Am, Joshua Wilson for Effect Simulations. Let's drag up Andrea Cason as well to the comms box. Andrea, can you hear us all right? Oh dear, well, Andrea is currently... Aha! Andrea, are you there?
Hello everyone.
Wonderful stuff. Well, a pretty good race for you tonight, Andrea. 3rd position. How was it from where you were sitting?
It's very good. I'm training very hard, and it's a good surprise for me that be here in Le Mans. Not my favorite track, but I'm very happy. Yeah.
Absolutely. And how have you been finding the Acura so far this season? Of course, it's been given a big sort of boost from last season. Were you already familiar with the Acura in the last iRacing season, or have you had to get up to speed with it in the last few weeks?
I was a Cadillac driver, so because I like that car. But from the season, I saw that the Acura was really OP, especially when you find the good setup for the car, because it's so strange in some turn, little understeer. But when you find a great setup, it's a really great car. So I like it.
And how is it racing with no back markers to navigate around? Was it getting a little bit dull by the end there, or was it quite a welcome relief not to have to worry about them?
I hope that for the next season, one series only prototype, I think it's a good idea for iRacing, because it's really great, and also for the rating it's more easy to grow up. Expect the IMSA races that there are a lot, not so much people on the field, so I think about 15 or 20 maximum driver for each car type. So it's a good idea for iRacing the next year.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll take credit for it if the team decide to do that. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Andrea?
Sorry, I don't understand. Sorry.
Any shout? Do you want to give thanks to anyone?
Yeah. I wanna thanks my team, Absolute Motorsport, Marcello Caserta, and also my wife, Elena, that support me every time. And
Awesome,
also
well,
my teammate Davide and other teammate. It's a very very good team, and I'm pleasure drive with them.
well, thanks for having a chat with us, Andrea, and best of luck that you can get another podium next week.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you so much.
Andrea Cason there, finishing in third position overall, and yeah, that was an absence for a lot of the drivers with the lack of traffic, but yeah, hopefully they enjoyed it out there and enjoyed fighting against some other 47 GTPs out on circuit. But that's pretty much everything, AV, for tonight. But next week we head to Watkins Glen, an absolutely thrilling circuit in whatever car. It is absolutely deserves its status as, you know, the most owned circuit, or road circuit at least, on iRacing. Yeah, what do you think the race is going to be like there compared to here?
Like you said, there's gonna be more traffic at the Glen. When you come to the Glen, you have that boot section. It's more chances to make a mistake, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm an American. That's one of my favorite tracks. So it's gonna be really cool to watch these prototypes fly around that track. Like we were talking before the show, I've been driving the Dallara IR18 around there a lot just because they're a lot of fun. And my big thing is I want to get some good laps in with the prototype before we go to the Glen, because it's just an iconic track, and I'm just expecting another great race. This was a fantastic way to open up the Apex Racing League prototype championship, and if it's anything like round one, it'll be another fantastic show. So I'm looking forward to next week.
Absolutely, it will be brilliant when we go to Watkins Glen next week. I think one of the most fun car track combinations that these drivers will be able to dive into, and of course that will be broadcast once again on Apex Racing TV same time next week. Of course, there's plenty more stuff coming up on Apex Racing TV as well over the next few days. We've got tomorrow we've got the Apex Racing League GT3 trophy returning, and we've also got the Weekend Warriors series coming back on Sunday. We've got Champion Motorsports as well on Sunday at Jerez. Similar cars to this at Jerez over the course of 3 hours. That will be a lot of fun. Radicals as well on Friday night. We've got the S1 Racing GT3 series, and we've also got the return of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup as well. That will be from Spa in an extended race next Tuesday. So if you've enjoyed this broadcast, do please leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel as well, so you can see whenever those streams go live. And of course, do check out the Apex Racing TV and Apex Racing League social media accounts as well on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from AV McDonald, and from Lee Thompson, we will say goodbye, and we'll see you back next week at Watkins Glen. See you then.